This conference will now be recorded.
So welcome everybody to the Nacogdoches Stakeholders Conference Call. We appreciate everybody taking time out of their busy day to be a part of the call here today. I want to first of all thank everybody for being a part of the call. Also want to acknowledge our sponsor, Burke, who is sponsoring the calls for the next few weeks. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Wayne Mitchell. I'm the president and CEO of the Nacogdoches County Chamber. I want to remind you that we're recording this call. It will be posted on the Chamber YouTube site, located on the Chamber website, and that should be up sometime this afternoon. Also, members of the media have been invited to participate as well, and we certainly welcome their questions once our presenters conclude their remarks. I want to remind all of you the Chamber has a wealth of information located on the Chamber website, located at www.nacogdoches.org. Please take time to visit this page for more information. It's funny, it's like I've known this fellow for most of my life, and the truth of the matter is he's a new friend of mine. And it's my honor to introduce our first presenter here today. I have the pleasure of listening to him every morning on the way to work, and frequently in the office when he's doing his interviews with Kelly Augustine, the Chamber's Executive Vice President. Danny Merrell got his start in radio in 1979 at KCLT in Lockhart, Texas. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I had the best barbecue I've ever had in my life in Lockhart. It's unbelievable. In 1981, Danny worked for KASE in Austin. He attended the University of Texas in Austin, pursuing a degree in communications. In 1987, a switch in majors to meteorology landed him at Texas A&M and College Station. Danny continued to work in radio, doing evenings at KORA, KAGG. In 1990, he moved to Lufkin, Nacogdoches, and started working at KICKS105. In his 30 years, Danny's been in East Texas. He's been on air, and for the last 2.5 decades, he's been brand manager of KICKS105, as well as host of the Merrell in the Morning program. He's also the imaging voice for Townsquare Media's classic hits radio station here in the United States. For nearly 30 years, Danny's been associated with SFA Sports. You folks might recognize that incredible voice from the football and basketball games that you've attended. For a while, he was doing football games with Robert Hill, while Robert Hill handled the play-by-play duties. Later, Danny transitioned to being the public address announcer for SFA football and basketball games. Danny's been married for 26 years to Glenda. She's a graduate of SFA, class of 91. They have 3 children, Chandler, 25, Chase, 21, who's a senior at SFA, and Cullen, 16. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce my friend, Danny Merrell. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning, Wayne. Thank you so much for the invite. I do appreciate it. When you extended this invitation to me last week, I mentioned to you what quite an honor it was, and I'm glad to see we got a lot of folks joining on the call. And I know the title of the call is The World of Broadcasting in 2021. I'm going to kind of break it down into 2 areas. One being that title, and number 2, how to be more efficient with your advertising in this new world of broadcasting that we're in, because over the course of the years, I've seen quite a few businesses that, in their best efforts in trying to advertise, actually throw away a lot of money. And so we'll address that as well. First, kind of a recap of where broadcasting has taken us over the course of the past, 41 years that I've been in it now. As Wayne said, 1979, I got started at KCLT in Lockhart, Texas, barbecue capital of Texas. Thank you. And we used 2 turntables. We had 2 cart decks, which are kind of synonymous with the 8-track, except each cart is one singular song or a commercial. We had a reel-to-reel machine, and we had a cassette deck, and that's how we played all of our audio. But that's where I kind of cut my teeth. That's where I learned some valuable lessons. One of those lessons involved a weekend show where somebody came to me and said, Danny, there's a guy out of San Marcos that's coming down doing a radio tour. Would you like to interview him? And I already had plans for the weekend. I said, who is it? And it's some guy named George Strait. And I said, I'm kind of busy. I've never heard of him, so I'll pass this time. Valuable lesson I learned right then and there to never turn down a blossoming artist. So I went from there, as I mentioned, to Case KVET. They used carts for the most part there until they got introduced to a brand new type of audio device called CD players. And we used a compact disc. Then I went to, Bryan College Station. And that's when we went ahead and went over to the computers. Of course, obviously we use computers now in radio broadcasting, but it has since come a long way since that time. I heard somebody say to me about 15 years ago that they did not expect radio stations, as they were terrestrial radio stations, to actually be around for much longer. And I got his point, being that if you stay the same, if you just go ahead and just do the old formula of playing music and that's it, yeah, you're going to go by the wayside, because people over the past 10, 15, 20 years have gotten their entertainment in so many different forms and fashions, whether it be, obviously with radio and TV and print still. But now online with all these, whether it be social media, the flavor of the day, I think is TikTok. It's going to be something new next year. Apps, Twitter. And what we do is that, our company is owned by Townsquare, and they came on board about 9 or 10 years ago. And they had the foresight to say, hey, we've got to make sure that we are on these different portals, all these different types of formats. And so we are, we have our own website, we have our own KICKS105 app, and Facebook, so forth and so on. And we try to intermesh them. In other words, we say, hey, listen to our radio station, get a code word, enter that code word into our Facebook page, into our loyalty program, into our KICKS105 app. And so you're kind of hoping that they go ahead and go along with all your different formats. And, it's become a very tough job. No longer am I just go ahead and worried about the music and promotions. I'm also doing several posts a day on our website. If weather breaks or there's some sort of traffic situation going on, I've got to make sure that goes onto our Twitter page as well. So it's gotten a lot busier. But one of the things Townsquare does tell us to do is to stay very, very local. Now, Townsquare has stations in many, many different markets all the way. I guess their biggest markets are probably Buffalo and Albany, Jersey City, Boise, but many are right here in the East Texas area and Louisiana. Lake Charles, Wichita Falls, Shreveport, Tyler, Longview. But no matter where, they always emphasize localism. And with that being said, just kind of a side note here, if you or anybody that ever has an event that's coming up, whether it's, Blueberry Festival, something major like that, or some sort of a smaller event. I know I've been in conversations with folks from Sacred Heart Church over the past week about their upcoming Multicultural Fest. We love talking about that. That gives us more and more stuff to post onto our website. And like I said, that's our marching orders. So if you know of anything ever coming up, if you have some sort of fundraiser going on, let me know. Danny at KICKS105.com is the easiest way to get a hold of me on that. So here we are, all these different types of forms of, platforms to get it out. So what does the future hold? And, in a word, customization. And we're seeing a lot now over the past few years where, you customize the channels that you want to see on TV, you customize the apps that you have, whether it be, Hulu or Netflix or whatever the case may be. But we're going to see more and more and more of that with the technology advancing. You see a lot of push these days about broadband. And on a school level, that's great because you have so many students that need to have access to broadband in the rural communities, so that they can keep up with homework assignments, and certainly if you have power outages like we had back in February. But you also want the broadband because some of these new technologies that are going to be arriving here very, very soon. And it just basically boils down to more and more customization. Every time that you browse on the internet, that's information that's being collected for the good of it or for the bad of it. And so it won't be long before you're watching even a cable TV station, like a local TV station. And you'll watch a certain program. Now, the commercials that you get on your TV on the same program that somebody else is watching just down the street, the commercials will be different. You'll be able to say, okay, say it's 6 o'clock in the evening and you're watching a TV show, and all of a sudden here comes a little pop-up saying, well, it's dinner time. You want a pizza? And all you got to do is click on your TV with your remote or click on your smartphone. And within, 35, 40 minutes, you have a pizza arriving at the house. And there's also going to be ways, I'm kind of trying to figure out how they're going to do this safely. But I know some TV folks that are about to launch some new technology to where you can watch TV programs on the dash of your car. Now, that's wonderful for those that aren't driving, but for those that are driving that are getting distracted and looking like this, we'll kind of have to wait and see exactly what goes on like that. So it still all comes back to entertaining. Oh, and a little side note here. More and more every year, people are listening to radio programs through streams. And that's something we're going to see a lot more of, to the point where, as far as tuning in your vehicle to, 105.1 will be a thing of the past. You'll actually pick it up on your app, which can be a good thing in certain areas, especially when you're talking about power outages, because when we had the ice storm back in February, many of the stations in the area, radio stations, were off the air terrestrially. They still had their streaming, but so we can actually still give updates on the stream, even though we're off the air. So I think that'll be a good thing here in the future. But like I said, it all comes down to entertainment. Are you being compelling? Are you being viable with your entertainment? And are you being funny? Are you being personable? Of course, are you being local? And I like to call it, as we kind of transition on how to reach those folks at these different entertainments, I like to call it an entertainment buffet, because it has become widespread out now where you get your entertainment nowadays. You still get it from radio, you still get it from TV, you still get it from print, but many other online portals. When you're just browsing, there's going to be advertisements that pop up. I play Words with Friends a lot, and I see all the pop-ups on that. I check out YouTube videos. You see all the advertisements on that. So if you are a business, you really need to take a good hard look if you want to come up with some sort of advertising campaign and think, okay, what exactly, who do I want to reach? What's my demographic? And, there are many different marketing executives. There are many different agencies in the area that do a good job of breaking that all down for you, so that you're actually spending your money in the most efficient way. And for instance, concentrating on radio and TV, there's a rule that's been called the rule of 7, kind of morphed along the way, but basically what that states is that in order for somebody to have brand recall, they got to hear your message at least 7 times, whether it be a TV ad, whether it be a print ad, whether it be a radio ad. The first 7 times, they're just not going to really capture the fact that who you are, what it is that you have. And it all kind of revolves around top of mind awareness. And unfortunately, there are some people that revolve their entire advertising campaign about that. But it's very expensive and it's very inefficient, because what happens is like, okay, I've got this amount of money. In order for, just the average person to hear my message 7 times, I've got to run this commercial this many times. Let's throw this amount of money at it and see what sticks. And if you have a huge budget, sure, that's one way you can go ahead and implement that. But that's usually used by a lot of the home improvement stores and auto parts stores, major department stores. But what you really want to do is find a way to customize your message and to make sure that your message is very compelling. And that gets us down to what makes a great commercial. Many times I'll have SFA tours come in here from the production department, and we'll get to that conversation as far as like saying, all right, what makes a good commercial? And many times we go to the Super Bowl, because people will watch the Super Bowl, not sometimes for the games, but just for the commercials. And so we'll talk about, okay, what commercials do you remember from the Super Bowl? And we'll say, oh, I remember this commercial. I remember that one where the cowboys were riding the horses and they were trying to round up the cats, and that was funny and that was great. And then I say, okay, it was compelling. You remember the commercial? What was the name of the company? And more often than not, and I'm just using this as one example, more often than not, they can't recall the name of the company. They don't have any brand recall. So when here's a company that's spending $1 to $2 million on a commercial, and nobody can remember their name, or at least the most part. So that's why I think, especially on situations like that, beer commercials have it easier, because all they're selling is image. Some of the best commercials I've heard is when you actually have the name of the product within the content of the actual commercial. For instance, the Budweiser frogs. Budweiser. I mean, that was great. The Aflac, is it a duck or a goose? It's a duck, right? I mean, you just know that the voice is going to come out there very, very soon and say Aflac. And if you really want to do a good dig down, kind of a primer, on taking a look at the different ways that you can get your message out there. Take a look at the glut of insurance agencies that are on the airwaves right now, on TV and on radio. They use so many great ways, like a spokesperson. They'll use a catchy jingle. You know, for instance, you've got Allstate with Mayhem. You've got Jake from State Farm. You got Flo from Progressive using these spokespeople. You've got the jingle packages. You know, we are farmers. Come on. Dun, 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 dun. You know, you got Nationwide is on your side, USA, Liberty, Liberty, Liberty. So they use these great ways to go ahead and kind of become that brand candy and to stick in there. But if you're talking about what makes a great commercial, I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. First of all, if you want to get the most mileage out of a commercial that you produce for your company, try to get out of the who, what, when, where, and why mindset. Your commercial is going to run in a commercial break, whether it be on TV, whether it be on radio, with at least 5 other commercial advertisers and up to 15. And so you've got to make sure that yours stands out. So if you basically say, hey, we're Smith's General Store located on Main Street, and we've been in business for over 40 years, and we are the headquarters of the biggest inventory at the best prices, and oh, here's our phone number that nobody's going to remember, your commercial is just going to be lost in it and all the other commercials that are running, and it's just not going to stick out. The good news is, especially over the past 10 or 15 years, is that you really don't have to worry so much about the who, what, when, where's, and why's. All you have to do is say, you know, you can go to our website or Facebook page to get all the details, and that way you can just concentrate on the image, a character, or an urgent selling point that you'd rather get across on your commercial. Be sure and take advantage of social media. I saw, as Darla, are you still on the call? Yeah. I know that McWilliams has been, for the past few years, doing an excellent job of using the free platform of social media and doing Facebook Live updates, doing contests on social media. That's a great way to reach a lot of your target audience for very, very little cost and not too much effort. But once again, the message has to be compelling. And so with that in mind, I'm going to leave you here with an example for the Texas Blueberry Festival. So imagine 60-second or thereabouts commercial for the Texas Blueberry Festival. Now, of course, who, what, when, where, and why, that's going to get across some great ideas for the Blueberry Festival. But this is more about an image. Hi, I'm the color blue, and I'd like to lodge a complaint. I'm sick and tired of the stigma of sadness that comes with my name. Feeling blue, I've got the blues. Why you got to pick on the color blue? And the list goes on. Blue moon, getting beat up is known as black and blue. And even the devil has a blue dress on. Thanks, Mitch Ryder. And Blue Lagoon with Brooke Shields, probably the worst movie in history. That's why I want to thank you, Nacogdoches County Chamber of Commerce, for the Texas Blueberry Festival. That's my name in there, and it's associated with fun things. Blueberry pancake breakfast, blueberry lemonade, run into the blueberries, blueberry pie and cupcake contest, True Blue Pet Parade, blueberry bluegrass concert, cooking up the blues, and so much more, all brought to you by Tipton Ford. By the way, more details at texasblueberryfestival.com for all the happy details. It's a full day of sweet blueberry activities, and my name is front and center, and I'm fun. Maybe someday I'll become the most fun color of all, SFA purple. And there we go. I'm open to any questions, but that was also supposed to be my transition for SFA in case Dr. Jordan's around.
Well, first of all, thank you for that, Danny. You made a horrible mistake there. You forgot that we're recording this, and we'll be using that broadcast without your permission. So there you go. All kidding aside, that was fabulous. And if, with your permission, I'd like to just initially ask a question about what has been the impact on the industry with satellite radio, Danny?
The impact has been there. It's just another player in the game. I mean, obviously, satellite radio has the advantage of very few, if at all, any commercials whatsoever. I mean, that is something in terrestrial radio and commercial radio that you're always going to have. You're going to have those folks that, once you get to a commercial break, boom, they're gone. So that's once again why we got to concentrate, I say we, as in the stations that are battling against satellite radio, to be very, very local, to be there to give the updates on weather, to give the updates on a traffic situation that's there in the construction zone on Highway 59 south of Nacogdoches, to talk about the multicultural festival. And, you know, that's the way we would kind of battle that, you know, realizing that, you know, satellite radio is just there for right now, and there's going to be something else probably in the future that's even better. So, you know, one of my best friends is one of the programmers, one of the corporate programmers at a satellite radio station. And, you know, we talk a lot about some of the advancements that they're going to be having in the next few years. And, you know, it's, I don't necessarily worry about it because, you know, I just do what I do. I just get up every day and just, I get to have fun. I mean, I get to get, but I never had to grow up. And I realize that's kind of taking us to a different tangent, but that's the cool thing about this. Now, although there's a lot of corporate worries and paperwork that goes with the job now, but you know, in the mornings, it's just have fun, be local, meet people, and very rarely say no. Just always be there, and that's kind of the way that we you know, take on the folks that are in satellite radio.
And my last question, Danny, would be with the new realities of broadcasting, have the rules changed in terms of what you can and can't say on the air since you started in this industry?
There's been, since so many radio stations, and certainly the ones that Townsquare has, you know, are multi-platform now. You know, we now get more of our money intake on the digital side than we do on the radio side for Townsquare. But because we are doing so many things now, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on our website, our KICKS105 app, we now have to be very, very careful of copyright infringement. We have to be very, very careful. You know, if we were to play a song on air, we have the licensing rights to do that. But we don't have the licensing rights to do that on our YouTube channel. We don't have the licensing rights to do that on our website. So even though there might be some guy that's local says, hey man, I'd love to be on your show, and can we actually stream this on your website? Hey, you can be on the show, but we can't put it on the website because we would have to go through a whole lot of paperwork to talk to the songwriters and to the publishers to make sure that they all sign off on this. And it's the same thing with the, you know, with the pictures and the photographs that we use, you know, to talk about some of the events that are happening around East Texas. You know, we never ever want to, you know, take somebody else's picture off of Facebook that's already copyrighted. You know, if there's a picture that we see that, you know, I think I've asked Kelly several times before to, you know, I've gone to the Chamber Facebook page and say, hey, can I use this picture for the Blueberry Festival? I want to make sure that, you know, the Daily Sentinel didn't actually take that picture and they have the rights to it. So before we actually jump onto something, yeah, many times we actually have to make sure that we're all good for that. Now, as far as what you can say on the radio, by rule, all Townsquare stations are supposed to have a 5-second delay button. You push that button in case something gets said. We don't have that delay button, so we're still good. So, Kelly, if we ever go live, just make sure you don't say anything bad.
Well, thank you, Danny. Any questions of Danny from the group? Well, I don't see any, Danny. First of all, I want to thank you very much for your willingness to be a part of the program. I want to invite you to stay here and hear the reports from our other stakeholders. It's an interesting industry, and you do a tremendous job for KICKS105 and Townsquare, and we're blessed to have you in this market. In my opinion, you got a world-class voice. And
thank you very much for the invite.
So thank you, Danny. Well, I'm pleased to see that we have our city manager, Merrell Canizares, with us here today. Merrell, good morning, sir. Whoops, Merrell, for some reason, we're not hearing you. Merrell, for some reason, your mic is not working. No, we're still not hearing you, sir. You might have to dial in on that, Larissa. I see you're adjusting the computer. Want to try one more time, Merrell? We'll be with just 1 second, folks. I apologize for the delay. Can you all hear me all right? Just nod your head. There we go. Thank you. Well, while we're waiting for Mario and Larissa to get on board, why don't we do this? Betty Rousseau, would you like to go?
Be more than happy to. I know I usually provide governor's announcements, and I just have an announcement from our office, and then I'm going to go into something fun. But we have an Office of Small Business Assistance, and they have a new resource called the Governor's Small Business Resource Portal. The portal offers a customized list of useful business resources that can help you start or grow your business in Texas. This helpful tool will provide aspiring entrepreneurs or an established business owner with the most relevant resources and contacts to help them find success. You can find this portal at gov.texas.gov/business under the small business link. Now, I'm not sure who did this in Austin. I think it was someone in our division, but it's kind of fun. In the first quarter 2021, top Texas touts. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm going to pick and choose several of the ones on top. The first ones are economy. Texas has the ninth largest economy among the nations of the world. We were 10th for a long time, but we moved up. It's 1.9 trillion for 2019, larger than Russia and Canada. The Texas economy grew at 7.5% in fourth quarter 2020. And Texas produces 8% of the US GDP, the value of all goods and services produced. Now we're going to go into jobs. Under Governor Abbott's leadership, Texas employers added more than 1 million new jobs from 2015 to 2019. Texas led the nation for jobs added in 2019, hitting a record low unemployment of 3.4%. And since the April pandemic job loss peak, Texas employers have added back 859,300 jobs. Now, industry, the Made in Texas brand is a powerful global brand. That's through the Texas Department of Agriculture. You go all over the world and people recognize that and sometimes look for it. So that's pretty cool. Texas produces 10% of US manufactured goods and leads in exports and tech exports. Texas manufacturing activity is accelerating sharply. We're going to go into energy. Texas leads in US energy production. Texas is the top producing state for crude oil and natural gas. And let's go into infrastructure. Texas is the gateway to global trade for the nation. Texas is the top state for investment trends in infrastructure projects, and we are home to 19 seaports with 11 deepwater ports. And we're home to the largest Gulf Coast container port, the Port of Houston. This is the top US port for foreign waterborne tonnage. Then people, we're a jobs magnet. Our skilled, growing, and diverse workforce is more than 14 million strong and among the youngest in the US. We're the top state for population growth, and Texas is younger and faster growing than the nation. And almost half of that growth are newborn Texans. Slightly more than 1/3 is from state to state migration. One fun one is Texas is far by the stickiest state. More than 82% of those born here stay here. Education, Texas educates more than 1 in 10 of all public elementary and secondary students in the nation. Texas is home to 26 blue ribbon public schools in 2020, 4 of top 30 STEM public high schools, and many of the best teachers in the nation. And that's it. I just thought that was kind of fun, so I wanted to share a few of those with you.
Well, thank you, Betty. It helps to reaffirm what we all know is that Texas is a great place to live and work. And we appreciate all that you and the governor are doing on our behalf. That's good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe the city manager is back online again. Let's see if we can hear Mario. Good morning, Mr. Canizares.
Is it working now?
Wayne, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. I have so many profound things to say. Actually, I really don't. It's my report's quickly going to be quick because council has not met in a couple of weeks, and so we do have our first council meeting for month of April, and it's a fairly lengthy agenda that we have. One of the things that we have on our agenda is for the council to review and hopefully approve their strategic priorities that they had discussed back on February the 11th. And if those are approved, then we'll begin developing work plans to be presenting to council over the coming weeks and months through this current budget and future budget processes. And then we've got a number of other items on city council tonight, some additional interlocal agreements with Stephen F. Austin for their baseball and softball program over at our baseball complex, along with formalizing the interlocal agreements with them in regards to the vaccine deployment, in which we're using the county along with the SFA nursing students. So we're excited about that. It's a great program that will continue to provide vaccination clinics for the public through the end of the summer. And so we're pretty excited about that partnership that we're having with SFA and the county, certainly our hospital districts too. So that's all I have, Wayne.
I think it's our Wi-Fi.
Wayne, you're muted. Just letting you know.
Well, thank you. That's a blessing to most of you folks, by the way. Again, thank you, Mario. Any questions of the city manager? If not, thank you, Mario, very much for that report, and we appreciate all you folks are doing. I'm pleased to welcome the president and CEO of the Nacogdoches Economic Development Corporation, Larissa Philpott.
Good morning, Wayne. I just have two quick notes. The Small Business Administration has extended those EIDL loans that a lot of businesses used in the last year. They've extended it for an additional 24 months, which is very good news. That should get us through an upswing in the economy. And then also that does come with additional funding. And then also, Wayne, if you have not already mentioned it, I wanted to mention on April 15th, the Chamber and NEDCO are hosting an online business development webinars regarding vaccines in the workplace with the president's pending announcement, if he didn't already announce it, that all adults will be eligible for the vaccine here in the next week or two. We expect that to be more readily available to everyone. And so this webinar will discuss how employers can navigate that. Some employers are requiring it, some are not, and just kind of going through all of the legal issues regarding that. And that's all I have.
Great, Larissa. Larissa, did you want to mention SB 1728?
Yes, you caught me off guard. I had to remember the one that I sent this morning. So that is a new bill that will go to a committee hearing on Wednesday, which will place a registration fee on hybrid and alternatively fueled vehicles, so electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles. That registration fee is the state is hoping that registration fee will offset essentially the loss that the state sees in transportation funding due to electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles not paying gas tax. Gas tax that you pay at the pump, everybody pays it on every gallon of gas they buy, funds a large chunk of our transportation. And if you have an electric vehicle, you're not paying any of that tax. So you are not essentially paying a fair share to utilize the state's roads. And so this registration fee will be added in hopes to compensate for that loss. And we're excited about electric vehicles in the state, of course, and this just fills that funding gap. And so if folks are interested in registering in support of that, Nacogdoches, I believe, will be registering in support of that. Please feel free to do so. There's a state form that you can fill out online. You don't have to go to Austin to register in support. You can fill that out online on the state's legislative website. And just you might mention that we're excited about funding like this to help fund I-69 and those important transportation projects that are so important for the economy of our region.
Thank you, Larissa. And I will be presenting that issue to the Chamber Board to weigh in with our delegation.
Great, thank you.
I'm pleased to welcome the director of the Visit Nacogdoches Center. Would you welcome Sherry Cheney Morgan this morning?
Hello, that's me. Hi. Despite the Valentine's Day winter storms that we all lived through, spring has officially shown up and shown out here in Nacogdoches. And while not our typical azalea season, this one seems to be just a little bit sweeter because we know everything that those little flowers have had to overcome. And our visitors are responding in kind. I think it's a great lesson in perspective. We look around and see where it is not living up to our past years of beautiful blooms. But if somebody comes in, and we heard this from Amarillo, where all they see are, tumbleweeds and barren desert, we look like a lush tropical fairy forest. So it's everything is relative. There's your global lesson for the day. I just got off another call with our friends over in Tyler and Palestine, and they shared their latest hotel occupancy numbers, which we haven't gotten our numbers for March yet. March will be the first year-to-year comparison date that we have that factors in the pandemic. And both of those destinations were up about 70% year-to-year. But of course, once you factor out the pandemic and go back 2 years, they're still up about 20%. So I have high hopes. We typically outperform Palestine for sure. We're usually pretty neck and neck with the visitors that Tyler sees. So I am anxiously awaiting in the next couple of weeks to be able to share with you what the numbers for hotel occupancy look like here in Nacogdoches. You may have read in the newspaper, in Donna McCollum, our friend at KTRE, did a story as well that Visit Nacogdoches is now serving as special event dispatch for the city of Nacogdoches. So events that occur inside the city limits that are open to the public or require city services such as street closures or police, a fire safety plan, that sort of thing, can initiate the permitting process here at the Charles Bright Visitor Center. Joanna Temple is the point person for that. Private events that take place in city-owned assets such as Liberty Hall or one of our beautiful parks or park pavilions, those do not require a permit. However, you do need to make those reservations through Parks and Recreation. And we are so excited to be in this new position and serving in this new way. It sort of completes our umbrella of collecting information and data about events, and we can push that out to our visitors and to residents alike. It helps keep us a part of that flow of information from start to finish. And our hopes in moving this along is to reach out to our county entities, our neighboring communities, Stephen F. Austin, NISD, so that that event calendar that you see at visitnacogdoches.org or on our app, Visit Nac, is an all-encompassing total event calendar, a bird's eye view of what's happening in Nacogdoches. So with your help, as you have events, be sure and submit those to us to help us populate that calendar so that it is a tool that can be used. And then lastly, sponsorship packages are available now for the Full Moon Summer Concert Series. This first year is our inaugural year. There's going to be 2 concerts. Already Gone is an Eagle tribute band, and that's going to be on May 29th down in Festival Park. And the Spicolis, an 80s cover band, tribute band is what they like to be called, will be here in July. So you can contact Joanna. We are anticipating upwards of 500 people, so it's a great opportunity to get the name of your business or organization or group out in front of lots of new eyes. So as always, we thank you so much for everything that you do to help contribute to making Nacogdoches such a great place for people to come and visit. And it is an honor and a privilege to serve you.
Thank you, Sherry. And that's a real active. It's so great to have such an active calendar ahead of us. We have an executive committee meeting here at the chamber this morning, and it felt normal for a change. And that's a good sign. And speaking of normal, it's my pleasure to introduce the president and CEO of the Nacogdoches Area United Way, my colleague and friend, Gary Lee Ashcraft. Good morning, Gary Lee.
I really appreciate the normal part, Wayne. Thank you very much, because some people would disagree. I'll kick off the campaign by saying our campaign has kicked off. Encore has began their campaign and will run it for a couple of weeks. We had a really exciting campaign kickoff. For Danny Merrell, I really like the idea of having fun. I'll let you know that the Do Dat barbecue will be at the airport. I think I've mentioned this before, and I'll mention it many more times on September 25th. The expo was booked because everybody's coming out. We were a little late, but the airport is going to be a lot of fun, a lot different. We've got some logistics to work out. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. We have really smart people working on this thing. So that's September 25th. I'm going to turn it over to Kenny Rena, our campaign chair, and she's going to tell you about T-shirts. Caroline Garner might jump on after Kenny and talk a little bit about a really neat event we're going to have June 18th, which is called Day of Caring. So Kenny, take it first. Caroline, if you want to come on, come on. Go ahead.
All right. Just a quick reminder, we're doing our spring spirit fundraiser. UnitedWayNac.org. Visit our website. We extended it one more day to give us just a little bit more time to get it together. Those that might have missed out on getting a Live United t-shirt, you can put a school logo on the sleeve and show some school spirit that way, or you can get a Live United polo or a cap. So check that out, UnitedWayNac.org, and I will, for the ease of everybody's fingers, I'll put the link in the chat. Thanks so much.
Caroline.
Howdy. So our Day of Caring is happening again this year. It's among the many events that were skipped last year because of COVID. So we're very excited that it will be coming back this year. We are just in the early phases of planning. The Day of Caring, for those of you who might not know or remember, is our annual volunteer event day for United Way, where we pair donors or potential donors or any citizens who would like to take part with acts of service project sites at our partner agencies. We have 17 partner agencies this year. In the past, we have done a wide range of great activities for which these agencies were very grateful, such as painting and playground renovation at the Boys and Girls Club, garden renovation at the senior center, some dirty work at Love Inc. to help clean up one of their facilities, landscaping at Solid Foundation, et cetera, et cetera. It's whatever the agency thinks they could use volunteers for that their normal volunteers are not able to take care of. So it's a great team building opportunity. Really, anybody is invited to participate. It's sort of along the lines of what SFA does with their special day, which I'm having a brain lapse right now what it's called. I know it's happening right about now. But anyway, this is something for community members. And a lot of our volunteers are excited to go out and see these agencies firsthand. They're donating to them all through the year, and then they get to go out and learn more about them and do something for them. So that's very rewarding, great team building, as I said, for companies. And we welcome everybody. So just watch for more information as we develop our plan.
Thank you, Caroline and Wayne. That concludes it. By the way, if you're leading a company or a group and want to run a campaign or participate in Day of Caring or want to buy a T-shirt, get a hold of us now and we'll take care of it. Thank you for having us, Wayne.
Thank you, Gary Lee. Appreciate that. Just want to let you also remind you that June 18th is my birthday, so you're going to have to find time that busy day to get my gift over to me, Gary Lee. So. It is my pleasure to welcome the Communications Director for the Nacogdoches Independent School District, my friend and colleague, Les Lineberger.
Thank you, Wayne. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you today. One thing I just want to mention this morning, Wayne, I'll keep it brief, but graduation for Nacogdoches High School will take place Friday, May 28th at Dragon Stadium. We're going to limit capacity at the stadium to roughly 50%. But that will still allow us to provide up to 10 guest tickets to each of our graduates for the ceremony. As of now, everyone attending will be asked to wear a mask, although that could change as we move forward based on recommendations from Texas Education Agency for Public Schools. The ceremony will stream on the video scoreboard at Dragon Stadium during graduation, as well as be live streamed on the internet. And while this is as close to a normal graduation exercise we could have, considering the circumstances of the past year, and we are certainly excited about this. There's more details about this on our website. I know the Daily Sentinel picked this up as well. But we've got a couple of rain dates scheduled too, because for the first time in a long time, we have to deal with the weather since we're outdoors for this. But we're looking forward to it to wrap up a school year that I think it's safe to say was unlike any other we've experienced in a long, long time. Wayne, that's all I've got, unless someone has any questions.
Any questions of Les? Thank you, Les. We appreciate that. I'm pleased to welcome Diane Emery, the Director of Angelica College Small Business Assistance Center, to give us kind of an update of what's taking place in terms of business assistance. Good morning, Diane.
Today.
There we go.
Thank you for asking me to come today. I appreciate it, and good morning. I just kind of wanted to give a little update about what's going on with SBA loans that we are assisting with in some of our activities. You might remember that Angelina College SBDC, under the CARES Act, was able to hire 3 independent contractors to work with in areas of finance and marketing for businesses that were impacted by COVID. And we were able to get their contracts extended through September 30th. So we still have those services available. I'm glad to announce that. People have been asking, are we as busy with loan processing and PPP and EIDL loans and that sort of thing? And I just kind of wanted to give you a little update on that. I got these statistics from the American Action Forum tracker, who actually keeps track of SBA statistics. You'll probably remember that the original CARES Round 1 Act for PPP came out in April of last year, April 3rd of 2020, with $349 billion for PPP loans to assist businesses with payroll. And that $349 billion was expended by April 16th. So from the 3rd to the 16th, that money was claimed. Then they come out with round 2 of the PPP, and the PPP portion of that funding was $320 billion, which raised the total for round 1 and 2 to $679 billion. And that came out April 16th with a June 30th deadline, but it was extended to August 8th of 2020. And then we came out with round 3 in December 27th of 2020, an additional $284 billion. And just to show you how that funding has slowed down, the PPP was reopened January 11th of 2021 to be expended by March 31st. And that has been extended now until May 31st. But as of March 28th, 2021, there's $72 billion of that PPP money still available. So that's 25% of round 3 funds are still available. So you can tell that the need for the money has slowed down. And originally, there was such an impact on the banking industry. Everybody was just overrun with applicants. And truthfully, those independent contractors that we've been able to engage, we actually thought in the beginning they were going to assist businesses with applying for those loans. But what we have found is that the need has actually been to help with financial advising for debt restructure, getting cash flow under control, writing business plans with human resource issues and marketing issues. So I just wanted to let people know that we do have those contractors as well as a full staff at SBDC at Angelina College that is available now to assist businesses in those areas, which seems to be where the need is, not only for just our region, but it seems to be an overall characteristic. I wanted just to give you some highlights from that Texas was number 2 in the loans for PPP. I'm getting some feedback. I don't know if you are too. So I'll just cut that short. But anyway, if you're interested in those statistics, a great place to look is the American Action Forum. But the main thing for our region is just to know that we are there to assist these local businesses. Thank you for letting me on your program today.
Thank you, Diane. And it appears that what you've shared with us today is essentially corresponds with what we're hearing from the financial institutions that they haven't had the appetite to apply like they did last spring. So maybe that's a good indicator for us. But at the same time, the chamber and others on this call will attempt to encourage our businesses that are struggling to seek out your services and those resources. Thank you very much, Diane. The purpose of kind of a health and COVID update, I'm pleased to welcome Jessica Sala, Communications for the City of Nacogdoches. Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning, and I will keep this brief, but we do have some good news in the COVID front. As much good news as we can have with that. But we've been steadily receiving our vaccine allotments in Nacogdoches County, which is great. And the city and the county and the hospitals and SFA and our other partners have all continued to work together to get these shot clinics underway. They've been going on for months now, and we anticipate they'll go on through at least part of the summer. But we do have an easy way now for people to sign up for vaccine clinics. Beforehand, these shot clinics were scheduled through your doctor because they knew the patients in the most need. And it was easy to get them in there, and that was just the easiest way we could do it. But now we have a very easy way, since the governor's orders has opened it up to everybody 18 and up. And so now to schedule your vaccine with Nacogdoches, you go to tinyurl.com/vacnac, and I'll put it here in the notes as well. So you can go to that at any time, and that link will not change. It's a Sign Up Genius link, and so as spots are added and open, we will put those on there. So the link will always be active. It may not always have slots available, but keep that bookmarked and keep going back to it. You can also call our call center, which is 936-305-8488, and that is different than our other number we were pushing for information line. This number that I just gave is specifically to call and make an appointment for a COVID vaccine. We hope that'll help with those that don't have internet access, need translation services, and they can call the vaccine number and get scheduled through the same Sign Up Genius link. So it's the same time periods, that sort of thing. The call center will be open today from 10 to 3, scheduling appointments for tomorrow's vaccine clinic. We're also seeing a lot of people that, we vaccinated a lot of the people that, are older, that were in poor health, that were kind of our critical mass that we needed to. And we've also vaccinated a lot of people that can easily leave work. And so now we're moving into shot clinics that go a little later in the evening to help those that maybe can't leave or, are on shift work, things like that. And so Wednesday's vaccine clinic, I believe, has appointments all the way up until 6 o'clock at night. And so you can go to that link, you can see what time period works for you, sign up yourself, or call the call center. We're excited because our hospital data is actually in a very good trend right now. The general beds and ICU beds for our hospital district are low right now, which is great. So we're seeing a lot of those vaccinations that are happening. People have been social distancing, washing their hands, wearing their masks, and that kind of shows in our numbers. So we appreciate everybody, doing what we're supposed to be doing so we can get this under control. But again, I'll put the links and the phone number in the chat. And then of course our county Facebook and our city Facebook have that information as well. So that's what I have.
Thank you, Jessica. Any questions of Jessica? Well, again, thank you for all you and your colleagues are doing. Jessica, are we doing a good job in finding the shut-ins, the women and men that may be older and not have access to internet and may not be in an assisted living facility but are confined to a home?
We are working with our partners as far as getting information out to everybody as much as we can. I know East Texas Community Health, they have a mobile vaccine clinic. They are working at getting that up and going, and I believe that is one of their primary directives. They haven't got all of their allotment yet, but they will be working on that as soon as they can. And we're continuing to reach out through our partners. The senior center has a huge list of people that use their services, which is great. And so we're sending the information to them and then encouraging everyone that, if you have a friend group, family group, an organization you're a part of, share it with everybody because of course not everybody has internet or access to all these same things, but good old word of mouth really does help, believe it or not. So we encourage everybody to share all this information far and wide.
Well, I appreciate that. And any other questions of Jessica? Okay, great. I see Nancy Wyndham's on the phone. Any quick updates, Nancy, from your standpoint? I'm going to dedicate I'm going to suggest next week, Nancy, that you be our featured presenter next week for the Texas Forest Country Partnership. So you're going to have about 15 to 20 minutes next week on the call, assuming you're going to agree to do it. So it's nothing like putting you on the spot.
No pressure. No, I'll be glad to, Wayne. That timing is perfect for that regional. I don't have anything specifically this week other than I would just encourage everyone. Larissa brought up the fact about the bill, the Senate Bill 1728. I believe it's Senate Bill 1728. Encourage everybody on this call and those that you can encourage to stay on top of those bills. There's a lot happening really fast. Also would encourage you to check with your senator and rep on how that really reads, because what sometimes on the surface sounds really good, sometimes isn't, and they are always willing to, them or their staffs will were always willing to provide some information to clarify those. So that would be one thing I'd add to this call today, and thank you for the opportunity.
That's great. And I do want to call all of your attention to the chat. I'll leave it up here a little while so you can copy or access that. Well, again, I want to thank Burke for their sponsorship of this call here again today. We really appreciate that. I do want to let you know that Eggs and Issues this month will feature all things bluegrass and blueberry. So if you can join us for that call, I think you're going to find out about all of the great and exciting plans for the Blueberry Festival and their bluegrass concert in the park. I want to thank Danny Merrell for joining us from Townsquare Media, KICKS105. It was a great update, Danny, and we really appreciate it. And we welcome your participation in the future of these calls. And last, I just want to let you folks know that I'll be out of the office starting next week. Starting Monday, I'm going to have I get a vacation planned in Houston that I'm really looking forward to. So, but having said that, I'm going to ask my colleague Kelly Augustine, the Executive Vice President of Chamber, to fill in my absence, and she'll do a more than capable job of leading you folks through the process. And I want to thank each and every one of you taking time out of your busy days, including our presenters today and all of you folks that took the time to join us for this hour. And I hope you have a happy and prosperous week. Thank you very much, folks.